You want a beer?
Yeah, I'll take a beer. That'd be great. Thanks.
Okay. You ready?
Ready.
All right. Welcome to Fantasy Football Thicker Than Blood Week 10. We got a first time this season. Public enemy number one, Joe Romano, on this week. Hasn't been as vocal, but we'll probably get into that a little bit in this episode. Joe, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm glad to be back on the show. Sorry for being a little MIA, but I'm happy to be here.
Of course. No, thank you. We're happy to have you here. Obviously, you've been taking care of some business at home probably. So I haven't been able to, schedule you on so far. Just conflicting schedules. But we're happy to have you, excited to have you. And your team's doing pretty well so far.
The team started out okay. I had a strong draft.
Yes. 2 first-round picks.
2 first-round picks, but one of my first-round picks hasn't played all year. And then I traded away one of my best player.
Who was your other first-round pick?
My other first-round pick was Melvin Gordon, who's doing great.
Yeah, but who was the first one?
Devontae Freeman.
Oh, yeah. And then obviously Kareem Hunt being big, but train that away. And it was a good trade for the most part, but then you had Carlos Hyde and TJ Yeldon. That trade screwed you.
That really that bummed me out. They got traded to the same team, and now because Carlos Hyde was a great workhorse for him.
Yep.
Now they're both obsolete.
Yep. Well, your team is still still one of the top teams in the Athlete minus Gym division. Still obviously a threat. I don't know if you remember, you did name these divisions. As well as you're supposed to be naming my team. But, if you don't want to, that's okay. I'm okay with my current team name. If you come up with something, I have to abide by the rules, but I might change them because I'm the commissioner and I can do whatever I want.
That seems to be the motto of your rule. You just make up rules whenever you want. You enforce them however you want.
Yep.
You're easily influenced by
money.
Previous commissioner. Who's always... Yeah.
Yep. No. There's definitely people in my ear. But you are normally one of the people who's making me work for it, and I haven't had that this year.
I haven't been testing you, and it's showing because I'm hurting on the field.
Yeah, and in your place, I'm not sure if you know this, but like we've been talking a lot about a public enemy number 2, who's been making his name known and kind of. Being that dare I say, vocal opinion is Cole McGann-Bell.
Cole McGann?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He's an up-and-coming star, and I'm kind of scared of him.
Yep.
So, but I'm glad he's taken after me, and he's filling the void that I've left.
Yeah, and he has been. And real quick, let's look at some scores. Tony, start the music. Boom, boom. Jake and Bake beats Juventus 132-115. A thriller of the top 2 teams, but Jake and Bake continues to do pretty well. Scottsdale Dadbots barely beats out Team Bad Patty. Team Bad Patty looking like he's pretty much out. Scottsdale Dadbots still making a push. Duke of Berkshire putting up 92 over Elgin. Elgin can't put up enough to take out Sean. Sean advances to the number 1 team in the Athletes minus Gym division. Cole McGann-Bell, public enemy number 2, maybe 119-87. Colin kind of needs some wins. Cole continues to sometimes put up a lot of points, and I still don't get it. Public enemy number 1, 5-4, 85 over 57 over Sean Romano, putting up the least amount of points. Second least amount of points this whole week. And then Uncle Pat follows through with what he says he's going to do and beats Nate Lanneman 113-84. Whew. Wow. Well, you had a big week last week. We'll go over who you're playing this week. But obviously a big win. I'm not sure if you've looked at the standings, but you're currently 5-4, but your division's pretty close. You're still sitting at a pretty decent spot as long as you don't lose 2. You should be in the playoffs.
I should be. It's going to be a tight race this year.
100%.
got 12 teams. I think they're all still viable for the playoffs, but
Except,
I don't know. I think some things are going to start changing. You had a lot of success during the season last year, didn't you?
no, I was last year.
You were last year?
Yeah.
Who was in first? Because there was someone that was killing it all year, and I think kind of choked in the playoffs.
It might have been Sean or my brother Joe.
That sounds like Sean. Sean choking in the playoffs.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it might have been that. And, obviously we only have one real team who I can probably pretty much say is out of it, is Uncle Joe's team. Just nothing really going for him. Had some injuries and stuff. What'd you say?
Got one win all season?
Yeah. But we had some big trades last night. We had Phil and Joe Bajo, Devontae Adams, and Matt Breida for Philip Lindsay and Lamar Miller. Okay. And then we had late at night, Colin and Uncle Pat, Deshaun Jackson for Rob Gronkowski, straight up. So, so some teams trying to make some adjustments. We got Sean Romano still trying to make a playoff push. So is C-Mac Attack, and then Uncle Pat still might be one of those teams that could be out of it. I don't know if it's currently the top 4 teams from each division or just the top 8 teams total who make the playoffs. Should probably check into that. Tony, check into that. And but I mean, it's still close, and we're gonna have these playoff push and trade deadline just happened, so no more transactions trade wise.
How has Gronk been doing this year?
Not too well. He hasn't been his normal Gronk self.
Yeah, I'm surprised Colin made that trade.
Well, he traded for Gronk.
Right.
I'm
surprised that he's usually a savvy manager and making great trades earlier in the year.
Yep.
Now I think he's just trading the trade.
Yeah, I mean, he might have been. Maybe he really wanted a tight end. I think he's got a plethora of wide receiver. But regardless, I mean, he's trying to switch up his team any way he can. And same with Phil. And Phil's shows, I mean, we'll get to it, I guess, right now. Let's look at some scores real quick. Jake and Bake versus Yogurt Merch. I got to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to start a defense or kicker this week in honor of you. That, and I have, I just have a lot of bye weeks, and I like the players who are on my team, and I don't really want to drop anybody for a kicker or defense.
You still have one on your roster, right? So you're not going to forfeit or no?
Yeah. I'll just start them. They're just in buys. Yeah. So, but I'm currently, and Nate doesn't have, he can add a kicker to his team, but he's currently not starting one. But I'm currently still projected to beat him 92-80. I mean, this.
You know how I feel about kickers.
Sure.
I think you guys should both play without a kicker. I think that would be totally fine.
Yeah, and we might. I mean, I'm not. That's an extra like 13 points I'm forfeiting. I still think it's going to be close. I'm a pick Nate's team here if he puts a kicker, just because he's got a complete lineup. But I definitely don't think I'm out of it. I still like my team a lot.
Patrick Mahomes on a bye or no?
No.
Okay.
And neither is
30 points.
And neither is Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have the top 2 fantasy players.
I think you're fine.
Yeah, they actually do have a bye week the same week though, so I'm probably gonna be losing that week. Next we got Joe Ventus for Scottsdale Dad Bods. A big game for Scottsdale Dad Bods, I think. Joe Ventus' team looks strong, even though he just acquired Philip Lindsay. He still predicted pretty good amount, but I'm going to go with my boy Tony here in an upset.
Scottsdale Dad Bods?
Yeah, oh yeah, my producer.
I've never been a Dad Bod guy.
Well, oh, Joe, don't even give me. I've been one since day one. Day one, Joe.
He's gonna probably edit me to make me add an extra couple pounds on.
Oh, yep.
But I just don't see him pulling out a victory. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I mean, Joe does have a good team. He is on a 3-game losing streak against my boy Tony. He's on a 2-game winning streak. I'm saying it's going to a 3-game winning streak this game. Team Bad Body versus El Jim. I just don't. I mean, it's predicted close. It is, and this would be a detrimental loss Elgin here?
I don't know. I think after having the chili over at Elgin's house, I'm kind of going into. I'm in his corner now.
Okay. You know he didn't make it, right?
I know, but he helped me eat it, and it was delicious.
Do you usually need help eating?
We bonded over it, and I think he'll pull off a W.
When you get help eating, is it the spoon into the mouth part, or is it the swallowing?
He chewed it for me.
And then like baby birded it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Yeah. He has to do that for a lot of his patients, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a doctor thing. So that might be it. But I'm gonna agree with you. I think that my dad's team is just better than Uncle Joe's team. I kind of want Uncle Joe's team. No, I mean Uncle Joe's starting 2 tight ends. It's tough. I mean that's just what he's got. But I'm gonna take Elgin here. Duke of Berkshire versus Cole McGann Bell. Cole's got McCaffrey playing right now. He's got 12 points already.
From who?
Christian McCaffrey. So, Sean's got DeAndre Hopkins out. I'm gonna take Cole in an upset.
I don't know. I see Sean pulling something shady this week.
Okay, I could see it, and Cole's team to me, it still doesn't have all of the correct combinations of, like consistency. He has been putting up big numbers though, and you got to go with big numbers. And McCaffrey already 12 points with 8 minutes left in the first. I'm taking Cole's team in an upset and a win that I think he desperately needs.
I'm gonna go with Sean.
But
pull something. He probably already pulled it.
Yeah, that's true.
That he does. He's trying to be like me, and it's.
I'm supposed to at some point in the show go to like the ring reveal. Let's do a ring reveal right now, right? Maybe I think we have breaking news too. Okay, so we'll be right back. We now welcome on former commissioner, champion, Sean McGann. Thank you for coming. Newly daddy of 2 as well. You were a daddy of 1 before. Right?
That's true.
It was just one. It was just.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to remember the last time I was on the show.
It was. You have other ones. You could say it.
I have 2. I have a Mia and I have a Duke.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was like one before Maria or something.
No.
No. Yeah. No. I'm thinking of a different Sean.
Although one of the family priest thought didn't know how old I was, and then when learned that I was 39, asked if I had been married before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
sure, there
are allegations all over.
Yep. That's the first question I would have asked as well.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Well, we have you on for a very special reveal, I believe, of what our this year's 2018-2019 fantasy football is thicker than blood champion will receive.
This is true, and I have here the goods. As you can see, it also comes with a nice little case.
Holder, yes.
Yeah, so you can put this out on display at your individual team's facilities, maybe at the front office.
Okay.
Maybe at the practice facility.
Sure.
I don't know. It's up to the owner who wins it. Now, I think, I'm not sure, I can't say for sure, but I think it's the record number of diamonds. And the metal that it's made out of, obviously it's a silvery type metal. I don't think it's actually silver. It's probably vibranium.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that. Yeah, adamantium, yeah.
I don't have the metallurgist, however you say that word.
Correct. No, you were right.
Looking at it, but if it's not one of those, it's probably something.
And we have Fantasy Football League on that side, it looks like.
Yeah, so if you look up close, let me get in here.
Yeah.
So
that's a good view.
Football League, you see it's got the football in the center surrounded by diamond-like stuff, and then you've got the blue sapphire-like things there.
And for the youngsters out there, the youngsters would say that's very icy. Very icy.
Yeah, it's iced. It's iced out. It's very cold.
Yeah, it's very cold.
I'm surprised you can. It's not fogging up the camera.
No, that's a great view.
Fantasy football, FFL, fantasy football on the side,
and then the other side,
it's got
2018.
a picture of, thanks. So it's nice. It's beautiful ring, high quality. I think the best one we've had yet. So.
Yeah, I am very excited for. I mean, we obviously already have Uncle Pat coming in talking about ring sizes and wanting you to.
Free. If he wins it, he can resize it to whatever. You can put it on his big toe.
Sure, of course.
It's his business.
Of course. And so, I mean, I am very excited for this one. I'm not sure. Again, we still clearly have an up for grabs season. We could crown a new winner. We could crown a current two-time winner. We could crown somebody who's won before. But it's very exciting so far. Sean, real quick, I wanted to talk to you about obviously some of the, let's just say, shenanigans that's been going on in the league recently with the trade talks, maybe you and Uncle Pat, some of that whole debacle, as well as our trade deadline. And while we're recording this, I don't know if we've seen much activity.
I haven't seen anything.
I'm going to look as well right now.
I just pinged the group and said that not everyone on my team's kind of up for grabs except for Saquon.
Sure.
We'll see. So you got to make sure I get the right value and make my team better. But
of course.
I think there's been so much activity up to this point that we might not see too much of the trade deadline.
Yep.
But you might get some people who regret that because, who knows what happens in these last, 3 or 4 weeks of the season and, injuries happen and whatnot. And, that's kind of one tool out of the toolbox that the owners don't have, right? If you can't trade, then you really, the waiver becomes more important. The selections on free agency more important. It's going to definitely favor the owner that picks the players the right matchups. You got to play the matchup game. So it's going to be an interesting last part of the season for sure.
Of course, yeah, and I mean, especially with as close as we are right now. I mean, one or two people getting hurt could still, obviously end seasons.
Yeah, I mean, you can devastate a team, right? If somebody goes down, right?
Of course.
Get big points from somebody, and they go down, and then you got to scramble to try to recover. So. And
of course, as I'm sure we're going to talk about on the show that I will record. But Joe Romano, I mean, he had his huge trade with Colin. Colin trying to get another running back now, but then he was in a great place before, and then Carlos Hyde gets traded to the Jags. Leonard Fournette comes back; they're both out. I mean, that's 2 running backs right off the bat. Loses Kareem.
That's how badly it can go south. I mean, Joe had, coming out of the draft, I think most people said he had the best team.
Yep.
And then a couple questionable moves.
Sure.
As far as the trades go, I think the lack of sleep's been hurting him. He's not his usual championship form yet, but that can always change too.
Yeah.
As far as the shenanigans though
mm-hmm.
and stuff, I was commissioner, and although I put some rules in, I still want it to be, I want to reward the owners, and the owners should have reign over their team. And if they want to make a trade, even if it's a crappy trade, you should, if you're an owner on the pro side of the lopsided trade, the good side, then good on you. And if you're not, then lesson learned. You've got to be able to figure it out.
And I agree. And that's I was going to bring out that your guys' trade, but an example I would give is like the Bears and Khalil Mack, right? I mean, obviously the Bears and the Raiders both like that trade, but if the Packers don't like it, their say doesn't really matter, right? Obviously the Packers aren't going to like it because Khalil Mack is going to be rushing Aaron Rodgers, but they don't really have a say in that. And that's kind of the analogy that I'm given within our league right now is like everyone's going to vote within their best interest. The idea is that everyone is an adult, isn't going to try and take advantage of another, and it can make decisions for themselves and in their best self.
I think you should expect people are going to try and take advantage of you, and you got to protect your team.
Exactly.
Negotiate fair trades, right? I mean, do your due diligence, make sure it's the right value, and if you think you're making your team better, who is anyone else in the league to say otherwise?
Yep. Well, we'll see. I mean, end of this week or end of tonight.
And you never know what positions people are in, right? There certainly have been times where I know that I'm going to be in a bye week situation. I don't have enough roster spots in order to have form a full team.
Yeah.
So I know I have to cut 2 guys to be able to make room, and sometimes I'll just try to make trades just to get some value because I know I'm just going to cut somebody anyway.
Yep.
So.
I try to do the same thing right now, actually. But what Real quick, I mean, this is might be minor, but like when you have to cut a guy, how do you usually go about doing it? Do you look him in the eyes? Do you just call him? Do you bring him into the front office? And how does that whole process work within the Duke of Berkshire franchise?
You know, we bring him in, we shoot straight. You know, we tell them that you know, depending on the reason, you know, if they're not cutting it, we'll let them know that hey, you know, you're not good enough to be here, and then you know, if it's just a pure roster move and we need to make room, we'll tell them that too. We'll wish them good luck. Tell them we might want to bring him back later on. But,
sure.
You know, if it's a good player, they're gonna go somewhere else, and we let them know that. But we're always appreciative of our players, the contributions, the sacrifice they make to our organization.
Of course.
So you know, we try to build a winning tradition, and everyone who's been on my team is part of a big family.
Yep, and you know, you cut them, you know, obviously you still want them in that family. You just got to look at the business side, but they still might have a chance future in their career to be on a championship team.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Sean, thank you for coming on. We're very excited about the ring we are going to be winning, as well as we. Do we still have the full trophy, or does that not exist?
The trophy got destroyed.
Yeah, sure.
And then was lost in a garbage incident. I will put it that way.
Yeah, where you dropped it.
I don't know
Sure.
if my wife was involved. But
Sure. That's okay. Well, Sean, thank you. Best of luck this week, as always. You are at the top of the Athletes Minus Gym division with looking good, and your team has been on the up and up. Obviously, big win last week, and best of luck to you this week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jake. Talk to you later.
Breaking news, Sean. We are welcoming you back on. I will.
Okay, Tony, good music.
Tony.
Music drop.
Music, because we're doing breaking news. So we got breaking news right after we recorded. We talked about trades, and then bam, like that. Wait, put in the noise there, though. Okay. Yeah, but the noise there as well. We got right there. We got a trade coming from two people who you wouldn't expect to see a trade from. Well, maybe Phil, but not Joe. I don't know how often he has traded. We have Sean Romano trading Lamar Miller and Philip Lindsay to Juventus for Matt Breida and Devontae Adams. A pretty big trade. I wasn't really sure that Joe needed running backs. I mean, he has Alvin Kamara, and I guess Breida was hurting him a little bit. And I mean, obviously, giving up a big wide receiver, Devontae Adams, he's a top 5 wide receiver. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this. I want to see if Lindsay has had his bye week yet, which he has not.
It's this week.
It's this week. Okay, so he's number 11, but he might be a little inflated, so he might be ended up being maybe a 12 to 15 running back.
Yeah, I can look at his average numbers where he lands.
Especially if Breida's kind of dropped off a little bit. If he started off pretty good. Overall, I'd say like Phil probably wins this trade.
I think so too.
For now, so he might. Phil might not be done. Because he's got 3 deep at wide receiver. He's 3 deep at running back. So he has room to move somebody if he wants to. So I'd be interested to see. I mean, Phil, he's got good momentum behind him now.
Yep.
His team is starting to shape up way better than I thought it did. And if Aaron Rodgers can start playing like Aaron Rodgers and Peterson can keep doing what he's doing, Marlon Mack, come on strong the last 2 games, insanely good.
Yep.
And then the Robert Woods keep was good, and so like he can do it. He can make the playoffs, and he could be a team that you don't want to play in the first round.
I agree, and according to our stats department, Philip Lindsay is the 15th best. If you look at average, and average takes into account bye weeks, doesn't count being hurt or whatnot.
There you go. So you said 12 to 15, so on the low end of that.
Yeah. So and the other thing is Joe's wide receivers are looking a little hurt here. Phil also, big thing for Phil is he has that Rodgers-Adams multiplier. If one scores a touchdown, it's for both of them. That's big. That's huge. Joe running back now, so he's got a bit of an upgrade from Matt Breida, who's been struggling a little bit just because of injuries, and you're not really sure, when he's going to come back. But he did have some big weeks there for a while. His last couple weeks, he's been hurting, and I guess Joe's just lost faith in him.
And Lamar Miller is he was included in the trade, right? He's a viable flex play too. So.
Yep. Sure. I mean, he's had a couple big weeks here and there, but then other than that, he's like hit or miss. And the Texans are heating up though, is the thing. So they've won 6 straight since the beginning of the year or something like that. So I mean, he does have that, but is Lamar Miller or Phillip Lindsay a number 2 running back? I mean, maybe Phillip Lindsay, but I'm not really sure. And then at wide receiver, I mean, he's got Golden Tate, he's got Doug Baldwin, he's got Kenny Galladay, but he doesn't. I mean, Jarvis Landry hasn't been producing as much. I would agree that I think that this improves Phil's team a little bit better than it does Joe's team.
Yeah, but overall, I can see why both teams made the trade. So,
sure.
Hopefully it works out for those guys.
Yes.
Question?
Yeah.
Are you guys talking about Joe while he's standing right there?
No, Joe Bejo. We're
talking
about Joe Ventus.
Oh,
Joe Ventus, yes.
Joe Ventus.
I was say because Joe Romano's sitting right here.
Special guest, guys.
Maria, thank you. God, we were trying to have you on. I was like, I wanted to talk about Sean's team to like the actual owners, but he just keeps like, no, I'll talk about it. And I'm like,
yeah, he won't let the real owners speak.
Yeah.
I'm the face of the franchise. I do the media stuff, and she actually does the work.
Okay, sure. Well, we will be having Joe Romano on the show, or he is on the show. We obviously talked a lot about how good looking I am, how really good Alabama is and bad Notre Dame is, were the main things we covered, as you did.
Really have to change his team name.
Yeah.
And also how I'm supposed to change my team name every week.
Yeah. And he's, it's up to the defending champ to exercise that right.
Of course.
But it's up to him.
Of course, and of course. And who knows? That could be a curse to my team, if anything.
Yeah, you need a curse on your team. Too.
I know.
A good curse would do you well.
Right.
And the rest of the league too.
No.
Tell Jake that Mia has claimed the ring.
I did not tell him that Mia loves the ring. So.
Withholding information from the league.
Yeah. She keeps trying it on and wants to play with it. So there's no guarantee that it actually makes it to the winner's circle.
I guarantee it makes it to the winner's circle.
Oh.
It just might break a little girl's heart.
Sure. Well, unless you win.
Well, but I think that it's rigged then if Sean wins because this is his favorite ring.
Sure.
Of all the fantasy rings.
Well, this is objectively, it's the best ring we've had.
It is.
Objectively said by you.
Well, yeah, but I've seen them all. I'm the only
So
one. I'm the
you're
only one who's.
subjective.
I'm the only one who. I believe I'm the only one who's seen all of them
I know,
in
that's
person.
what I'm saying.
I in person. Yeah.
In person.
I've seen them all.
I'm saying if
Well, I've
it's
sent pictures to everyone. Yeah.
saying if we win, it's like a rig.
Believe me, if I could rig this thing, I would.
Yeah, I know. I watch the league activity messages to make sure you still don't mess with the league manager tools all the time.
Yeah. All right.
Sean, thank you for coming on.
That's great. Always good breaking news.
Of course. Best of luck this week. Maria, Joe, thank you for coming on as well. Duke, you're having a hell of a season.
Thanks for having Sean wins any games. Christ.
Wow, great. This is a action-packed show. We got 4 guests already, and obviously we have more. Thank you guys for being here. Best of luck this week, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Jake.
Bye. And we're back. Let's go. Oh, my God. It's so fun. I love this. Oh, I think I have a... Oh, man. Well, let's be right back again.
That's not collusion. What is? Oh, hey, Jake. Thank you. And welcome, everybody, to the first installment of CMAX Stats. CMAX Stats. So, Max Stat number 1. Everybody knows that Jake and Bake leads the league in scoring this year. Who's number 2? You guessed it. Bulletin board material. Max Stat. And CMAC Attack has the most points against. Max Stat. John Brown scored 1 point last week and a total of 3 the last 2 weeks. Max Stat. From Denver, Colorado, this is CMAX Stats. Back to you, Jake. CMAX Stats.
And we're back again. Let's go. We actually had 2 this week.
Thing reveal.
2 things that we're going back to. And we got Colin versus Joe Romano. All right, now Joe, are you currently aware that you are not starting a running back or a kicker? Well, obviously the kicker.
Yeah, I am aware of that, but I'm not. I have not set my lineup yet. So.
And Leonard Fournette, I believe, is back, which hurts, obviously, Yeldon and Hyde.
Oh, my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Anybody? I can't trade him anymore. This is a clash of the Titans between me.
It is, yeah, and two frenemies, really.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Colin on this one.
Colin? Yeah. I mean, it's tough to pick against you just because, I mean, you got Julio, you got Hill, you got Melvin Gordon. Those are some big numbers right there. Calvin Ridley, you never know. He can break out. Colin's got Cam Newton playing right now, and obviously Kareem Hunt's a big guy, big numbers guy.
Is Kareem like number 2 fantasy player? Or?
Yeah, he's a top 3, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Running back, that is.
Yeah, he was going to be. He's a keeper too. He'll get him in the 5th round next year.
I think he will probably be Colin's top scorer.
Oh no.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. That would have been big. I like your lineup better, Joe. So I'm gonna go with. I think Colin's gonna win. I think your lineup's a better lineup, but I just have a gut feeling that I think Colin's team is gonna take this one as well.
I'm still projected to win, right?
No, not right now. If you put a running back and kicker in, probably. And finally, we got Sean Romano versus Birch Lake, Michigan Vice Fleet. And Sean Romano's already got 17 points from Juju, but Uncle Pat's got 10 from Ben Roethlisberger. This game's going to be close, and it's a big win for both teams. But Sean Romano right now with the Juju Smith-Schuster, 17 points, is currently projected 114, which I think is a high for him all season. You got to go with the Sean Romano train. Uncle Pat, though, it's hard to pick against because every time I pick against him, he proves me wrong. But I've been rooting for Sean Romano. I'm going to take Sean Romano in this one. I'd like to see a comeback from Phil.
Is Pat, what's his record now?
5-4.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with Pat.
Okay.
Strong pull, and he's going to be a top playoff seed, too.
Yeah, he's been talking himself up. Already asking for ring sizes and stuff like that.
He does that when he's 1-8 as well.
Yeah. But he proved me wrong last week. I mean, we picked Nate, I believe, and Uncle Pat trounced him. His team it has been known to be making late season pushes, especially last year, and we'll see if that was him or more of Cole's managerial skills last year. But I guess that's it for us. Any last closing remarks you want to say? I feel like I asked you everything I did. I mean, obviously you haven't been as vocal this season, but still being in the center of controversy, regardless.
Center, I've been kind of on the outskirts. I think Sean's taken on that role.
Yep.
Center of controversy. But I'm off in a couple weeks, so I'll pick it up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously we love it. You gotta love the electricity that you bring into it's definitely missed within the league right now.
Yeah, and I'm taking suggestions for names for your team as well.
Yeah, and it's a poll, I believe, is what is supposed to be done. But I mean, it's tough also when like the person who I've nominated as like a public enemy number 2 gets his phone taken away because he doesn't take the dogs out. So
his lineup set? Is he gonna be able to?
I think it is. Actually, it might not be set. And Nate was talking the other day about how he won't be able to. No, he is fully set. He should be all right. So he was able to move it around.
Also, Irish 9-0.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to talk about it like after they lose?
That's not going to happen. So.
Do you want the rematch?
Between us and Bama, of course.
Yeah, you just stuttered. You just like had to catch yourself because you're still scared a little bit.
I'm not scared. We're gonna take on Clemson. We're gonna beat them like we did a couple years ago with that stupid call, and then we're gonna beat Bama.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really doubt that would happen.
Ian Book for president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Bama is dominant. They look dominant, and they showed that even at a tough LSU. Notre Dame, his toughest opponent all season has been Michigan, and that was Even that, it's like, And then other than Michigan, who have they really played? Oh, no one.
They beat Navy.
They still struggle with Pittsburgh. And they will probably struggle with Syracuse. They'll probably trounce Florida State. They don't really play any tough games from here on out. So, yeah, I mean, maybe. I'm definitely rooting against them. That is for sure.
Do you think they make the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, if they win out, given they win out, they are in the playoffs.
Well, yeah. Do you think they're going to win out? That's the question.
Yes.
If they win out, they have to make the playoffs.
Yes.
No
I think they win out. Florida State should be easy, and then Syracuse is okay. But I think that game's at Notre Dame, or is that at Syracuse?
No, it's in New York.
Okay, so I mean that'll be their toughest one. But I really did think Notre Dame's semi good enough to beat Syracuse. It would definitely be a choke if they lose.
For sure.
And I would love to see a rematch because I think that it would be the same result. Although I haven't watched much Notre Dame football yet, but I'd be willing to put on a wager. Very exciting time for you and obviously Brian Kelly, all you Notre Dame guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can't wait to prove you wrong.
Well, Joe, anything else you'd like to plug? A comment?
No, I gotta run. Let's go. Public Enemy #1.
All right, Joe. Thank you for coming on. Best of luck, everyone, this week, and we'll see you next week.